Lee Minho, the name that once dominated the Korean entertainment world, the face that launched 1,000 fan clubs, and the icon who redefined the male lead in modern K-dramas, now finds himself facing a quiet yet undeniable shift in his career. Before we dive into the unexpected reasons K-drama producers are becoming hesitant to cast him, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any breaking news about your favorite stars. At the height of his career, Lee Minho was untouchable. He skyrocketed to fame with his role as Gu Junpyo in Boys Over Flowers, a series that didn't just make him a household name in Korea but turned him into an international sensation. His curly hair, rebellious charm, and piercing eyes captivated millions. From that point forward, Lee Minho was no longer just an actor, he was a brand. His projects were guaranteed hits, his face was plastered across billboards, and his fanbase only seemed to grow with each passing year. But now, the once blazing fire of his career is flickering. While he remains incredibly popular, a closer look at recent industry moves reveals something unsettling. K-drama producers are increasingly reluctant to cast him as their lead. And it's not due to one single factor, but a complex mix of industry dynamics, changing audience tastes, and the weight of Lee Minho's own legacy. One of the biggest challenges facing Lee Minho right now is typecasting. For years, he was celebrated for playing the rich, cold-hearted, but secretly wounded male lead, the quintessential chaebol. From The Heirs to Legend of the Blue Sea, the roles may have changed slightly in context, but the core personality remained largely the same. At first, audiences ate it up. But as newer actors began to emerge with more diverse roles and emotional range, the public started to crave something fresher. Producers began looking for leads who could bring unpredictability, vulnerability, or eccentricity to the screen, qualities that Lee Minho, for all his charisma, hasn't showcased enough in recent years. His image, while iconic, became a double-edged sword. Casting him often meant fans would expect a certain character type, which limited storytelling flexibility. Writers felt boxed in. Directors didn't want to gamble on rebranding such a deeply ingrained persona. The next hurdle? The evolving landscape of K-drama content itself. The genre has transformed significantly in the last 5 years. Gone are the days when a simple love triangle and a brooding male lead could carry an entire show. Today's audience wants more layered narratives, thrillers, psychological dramas, socially conscious stories, and flawed characters. Shows like The Glory, My Mister, and Move to Heaven have redefined what success looks like in K-drama. And most of these critically acclaimed dramas cast leads who were willing to look less polished, more real, and, sometimes, even villainous. Lee Minho's filmography, while glittering with commercial hits, doesn't yet contain a role that's broken the mold or shocked viewers with emotional depth. His 2020 return to the small screen with The King, Eternal Monarch was highly anticipated but ultimately received mixed reviews. Many praised the production scale but felt that the storyline was confusing and that Lee Minho's performance didn't push boundaries. It was a wake-up call for many in the industry. Another silent yet powerful reason is the rise of a new generation of male leads. Actors like Kim Seon-ho, Song Kang, Ahn Hyo-seop, Lee Do-hyun, and Park Seo-joon are dominating headlines. These actors are younger or have fresher public images, and they often bring an unpolished rawness that resonates with today's audiences. They're versatile, often switching between comedy, melodrama, and action in ways that keep viewers engaged. Production companies are investing heavily in these rising stars not only because of their talent but also because of their value in international streaming markets. Platforms like Netflix and Disney Plus are more likely to gamble on someone with breakout potential rather than a star whose fame, while massive, might be perceived as dated. Lee Minho, unfortunately, finds himself stuck between being too famous to take risks and too predictable to surprise. Let's not forget another important aspect: cost. Lee Minho commands a massive paycheck, and rightfully so, considering his stature and global appeal. But in an industry increasingly driven by tight budgets and streaming contracts, some production houses opt to cast 2 rising actors instead of one massive name. It's a practical decision that has nothing to do with talent and everything to do with cost-effectiveness. And while Lee Minho remains loved, there's also the issue of relatability. Over time, his public image has evolved into that of a global superstar rather than someone who feels accessible. In contrast, actors like Nam Joo-hyuk or Ro Won have built a following around being relatable, taking on quirky roles, engaging openly on social media, and maintaining a boy-next-door appeal. This relatability factor has become a key driver in fan engagement, especially among Gen Z viewers, who now dominate the streaming audience. Moreover, Lee Minho's own personal life and public presence have become increasingly private. His fanbase is loyal, his looks remain striking, and his screen presence is unmatched. But if he wants to remain at the top, a reinvention is necessary. There's speculation that he's already considering this. Rumors are swirling about a new project where Lee Minho might play a deeply flawed character, not a chaebol, not a king, but a struggling artist or a morally gray figure. If true, it could mark the beginning of a bold new chapter for him. After all, we've seen other actors revive their careers with daring role choices. Think Hyunbin in Secret Garden and then Crash Landing on You, or Ji-sung in Kill Me, Heal Me. Reinvention is not only possible, it's often celebrated. There's also potential for Lee Minho to shift toward films or international collaborations. With K-content exploding globally, many believe he's positioning himself for a crossover project. His charisma and English fluency make him a strong candidate for global productions, possibly even Hollywood. But again, such transitions require strategy, patience, and the willingness to take roles that may not be as glamorous but are rich in depth. Fans also play a key role in this transition. The more supportive they are of Lee Minho taking risks, the more likely he'll feel empowered to explore complex characters. The idolization of actors often traps them in golden cages, where they feel compelled to remain perfect. But perfection isn't what the audience wants anymore. They want growth. They want evolution. They want realness. And perhaps that's the most important message here. Lee Minho's greatest strength has always been his ability to connect with audiences on a magnetic, emotional level. But if he wants to continue leading this ever-evolving industry, he'll need to allow himself to be vulnerable on screen. Not just handsome. Not just composed. But human, messy, broken, searching. There's also room for Lee Minho to explore roles outside of romance. A detective, a villain, a struggling father, or even a teacher in a slice-of-life drama could all offer the kind of creative reset his career needs. His talent is still there, it just needs the right story, the right script, and the right timing. So while some K-drama producers might be hesitant for now, the industry is nothing if not cyclical. And if anyone can make a comeback that silences every critic, it's Lee Minho. All it takes is one transformative role, one project that reminds the world why they fell in love with him in the first place. And when that moment comes, it won't just be a return. It'll be a rebirth. Thank you for watching. If you love following the real stories behind the stars, make sure you subscribe right now and stay tuned. Because in the world of Korean entertainment, anything can change in the blink of an eye, and Lee Minho might be one bold move away from his greatest role yet.